Here is our first clue this guy's a fascist. A meth addiction, just like Hitler. Today I'm going to assess the legitimacy of the claim that this guy's a fascist. I'm going to use Robert Paxton's definition since it's the most strict and frankly the most historically grounded one. None of this nationalist, authoritarian, everything is bad fascism. Here it is. Fascism is a form of political behavior marked by obsessive preoccupation with community decline, humiliation, or victimhood, and by compensatory cults of unity, energy, and purity, in which a mass-based party of committed nationalist militants, working in uneasy but effective collaboration with traditional elites, abandons democratic liberties and pursues with redemptive violence and without ethical or legal restraints goals of internal cleansing and external expansion. Let's see if we can hit each prerequisite.
Nice to meet you. Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Mehdi, lovely to meet you.
So I would say that with Trump being anti-constitution, I don't really care, to be quite frankly.
Okay.
Because in regards...
Holy shit. A round of applause against the Constitution. There isn't one conservative in the room. These are anti-American revolutionaries.
In regards to the Constitution is a document that should seek to serve us. Yes. And when it fails to seek to serve us, that can be amended. Laws can be changed. And quite frankly, the fact is, we're defending things in this country that shouldn't be defended. The First Amendment should not defend pornography and making children and women be victimized. Making women and children be victimized as a result of that. I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment. I think that, quite frankly, there are a lot of legal processes.
You mean the First Amendment that has the Establishment Clause, right? See, even this guy gets it.
That are enabling criminals and bad people to fully enact their will in this country in the name of the Constitution or following the Constitution. So,
yeah, those are called rights, buddy.
Quite frankly, if Trump is anti-Constitution, good, and I think he should go further.
So, this.
See this guy? Fuck this guy. Moving on.
This is wonderfully revealing of the modern conservative mindset, so I appreciate you spelling it out so openly. Just checking, do you support the Second Amendment?
I do.
Okay, surprise, I was shocked to hear that. I'm saying that Donald Trump is defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He's thinking of defying the 12th and 22nd Amendments. You're saying you don't care about the Constitution, but actually you do because you quite like the Second Amendment. You just don't like the bits that you disagree with. Can I just be clear on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, looks like we can check without legal restraint off our list.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to amend it and include
whenever
the
it's in your
Amendment.
favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can Democrats do the same when they're in office?
No, absolutely not. Because
so you don't
it's
believe in democracy?
No, I don't. Absolutely not.
What do you believe in?
Autocracy.
Wow, he says it out loud. Good for him. Abandoning democratic liberties couldn't have been announced more clearly. He isn't making this very difficult for me, is he?
By who?
Honestly, quite frankly, anyone who is in line with Catholic teaching.
Donald Trump is not Catholic.
Of course, he's not. I completely agree, and that's part of the problem.
You don't support Trump?
No, I don't. I didn't even vote for him. I wrote in like John Pork or someone. I can't even remember.
Okay, so remember how he got all worked up about porn and blasphemy? The motivation of pushing for a theocracy in line with Catholic teaching is community decline. Basically, the moral and religious degradation of society. So we can check that off.
Why did you vote if you don't believe in democracy and you want autocracy?
Well, because quite frankly, I voted. I kind of voted just to.
I came with this argument, but I'm bored of my own argument. I'm much more interested in this. So
yeah, absolutely.
How do we get to an autocracy?
I think, quite frankly, that if we are able to enact local leaders.
Who is the we, by the way?
He gets cut off, but I would love to hear him say that he wants to have local leaders establish parallel institutions and have militants ready to enact political violence. Remember how much he loved the Second Amendment? You know, really lean into Mussolini's playbook.
I think, quite frankly, these far-right conservatives sitting right around
White people?
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
So,
well, actually, I have quite.
Some of the people in this room don't make the cut from what I can see visually.
Actually, hold on for a moment. I do think that there are people who happen to not be white who do actually have history in this country and have roots in this country. For instance, from the Mexican-American War, we subsumed a lot of territory of people who have far stakes in this country who happen to be Hispanic or what have you. I'm for defending the traditional demographics of this country, which is majority white, and it should stay that way.
How does the United States...
I would be so happy that he's checking off all the boxes if this wasn't so horrifying. I mean, applause? Really? Alright, well, if you're going to preserve a majority white ethno-state, you'll probably want to start small, with, some level of plausible deniability, so you don't get too much backlash all at once. Like mass deportations of non-white undocumented immigrants, revocation of citizenship, facilitation of white immigration from countries like South Africa, disenfranchisement laws that systematically strip voting rights from minorities, propaganda campaigns that frame minorities as criminals, parasites, or invaders poisoning the blood of our country. Mass incarceration or detention camps used disproportionately against targeted ethnic groups, surveillance aimed at specific communities under the pretext of national security, repurposing the military for law enforcement in cities with large minority populations, erasing or restricting the teaching of histories and contribution of minorities, and the denial of fundamental human rights granted to everyone by the Constitution, like due process and free speech. And with a modest majority 60% of the population being white, you might just have to ban interracial relationships if you want to be realistic with your goal. So clearly, we don't have any ethical restraint for our goal of internal cleansing that we pursue with redemptive violence. But at the end of it, we may have unity and purity without all those undesirables.
I mean, we've gone so off topic, but how does the United States look like under you? Sorry, what's your name?
My name is, my name's Connor. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Took a little bit of a doubt there.
Oh, well, I use a pseudonym online.
Fair enough. Connor,
fair enough.
How would Connor's America look? What would it look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think we would deport people who shouldn't be here.
No, I didn't ask about deporting. What does the government look like?
What does the government look like?
Yeah.
I would say, quite frankly, it's under a sort of benevolent leader, such as
Where does he
Franco.
come from?
It could be a kind of aristocratic class, could be some.
So he mentions an aristocracy and admiration of Franco, which presents a model of collaboration with conservative elites. But I'd like to remind everyone that fascists always come to power through elections, not force.
No, but who picks the autocrat?
Frankly, the people. I mean, we could hold a vote on it. Kings were
Isn't that democracy?
Well, sure. You can have a vote to get to that state.
And then no more votes afterwards?
Absolutely.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because that's the whole thing.
How do you know?
Carl Schmitt
Autocrats tend to kill everyone,
Carl
even their own
Schmitt
supporters.
makes this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right?
Carl
liberals,
Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
This guy must have gotten his history degree from Joe Rogan's podcast. Probably listened to the Daryl Cooper episode and started saying he did his own research. Fascists famously kill their own friends and allies. Push for a Catholic dictatorship that the Vatican will never recognize in a country that already has politically mobilized Protestant nationalism, you're going to have an authoritarian who imposes their interpretation. You know, like fucking Franco, you idiot. And there it is. The cult requirement checked off the list. Need any more proof of how he affirms this result? Carl Schmitt's ideas of legal nihilism undercuts the moral legal foundation a Catholic nation would claim to restore. He built this contradiction in one breath. Catholic nationalists in the US would be useful idiots at first, and later a nuisance at best.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that, but...
What about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
Didn't he just advocate for an ethno-nationalist dictatorship? Did I miss something in Sunday school?
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution and
we
stuff
may
like
have
that,
to
which is
rename
bad.
this show because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you could say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
1, 2,
Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone is on this. Because you know that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
During the pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat cats, they were aristocrats, they didn't care.
Here we have the exact reason the collaboration with conservative elites is so uneasy. A mass-based party denotes a populist movement that gains its power and legitimacy from popular support, as opposed to institutional power. And let's just say an admirer of Franco has no qualms about militancy.
And you don't believe in democracy?
I don't believe in democracy.
What are you doing here at a televised debate? This is democracy. Don't want to debate and disagree.
Because it is the means to support an end. The reason we have free speech now is because we want to be openly talking about our opinions so we can get the state that we want. But it doesn't mean upholding free speech after we win.
I would just love to point out that conservatives who cried about free speech online never gave a shit about it, except as a tool to play the victim. I'm going to show you some of the First Amendment violations Trump has engaged in this year alone. And yes, a credible threat of retaliation for speech is absolutely a violation. The audacity to bitch and moan about Twitter's bias and handwave the fucking president wiping his ass with the Constitution disqualifies you from having an opinion.
I mentioned
the only good thing about this fascist moment we're in is that you guys are so open about it.
The whole reason I mentioned
the quiet part loud.
The whole reason I mentioned Carl Schmitt earlier, and you kind of blew past him, is the friend-enemy distinction.
Past him because of the Nazi
even liberals, when they take power, they want to enact policies and they want to enact protections for their people and their ideas, and they're willing to punish their enemy. And so I'm the same way. I'm like, hey, if you're going to punish me, I'm going to get in power, and I'm going to frankly punish you when you try to leverage power against me. Just that simple.
All that's left that we haven't hit on is external expansion. This comes only after internal purification and consolidation of power as a way to sustain the regime's power in a permanent state of emergency. Expansionism is never revealed until it is too late, after many founding revolutionaries are killed off. So I'm going to check this one off too. So, we've proven this guy is a fascist, and as an added bonus, I'm going to summarize why he doesn't even understand what he believes. He claims to be Catholic, but cheers for legal nihilism and an ethno-state, not universal moral law. So he doesn't understand Catholicism. He claims to want a Catholic dictatorship, but the Vatican sure as hell won't recognize one, so he doesn't understand Catholic politics. He claims to be a Catholic nationalist, in a country where Catholics aren't even a majority of the Christians, so he doesn't understand nationalism. He claims to know history, but ignores that fascists always devour their friends, alienate the church, and collapse under contradictions, often from Catholic revolt, so he doesn't understand history. He claims to want a Catholic ethnostate based on historical US demographics, but ignores Catholics are historically immigrants and presently non-white immigrants, so he doesn't understand the United States, while also claiming to be a nationalist. All the while, these clapping fascists call themselves conservatives, like arsonists calling themselves firefighters. Either way, they want to burn everything down.
Hey, it is what it is.